Hello there folks, and welcome to another 1 versus 1 I've got for you here. And this time it's a rematch between CptConundrum and Battlebear. I should probably say it's not really the rematch. The other game that we saw is more likely to be the rematch, as I'm told this is the first game they played. But let's have a look at what's going on as the players now spawn in on the same map. So, in white, the sort of northern spawn again, we have CptConundrum with his lovely Arminous commander there going bots first, and a couple of P-gens with sort of another mixed build there as we see the builds being developed. So bots first, still no early metal. I'll probably come out with the engineers that he builds, or the fabricators, whichever you prefer. And down here as well, and Battlebear blue on the south spawn. You got a pretty similar build, a little bit of a more focus on the vehicles, and also the first metal built by the commander there as well, which is something of an interesting one to go with. What we'll do is I'll keep an eye on bases there in picture, because I know last time I missed a few things. But last time I was quite tired, although this time isn't too different to that. Looking out, what's going on? We've got a few early tanks coming in as well, some ants, and a few docks going around the rest of the planet, just getting off some scouting, securing down expansions, which is always what you want to do. In fact, Battlebear here moving out with a few docks. It's going to be interesting, because these could go straight for CptConundrum's base, and there's a couple of fabricators here, not particularly well defended, but they're just sat out there in the open, getting up those mechs. So if the docks happen to move in that general direction, they could get a couple of a good fabber kill there, and a couple of good early wins as well. Back down in Battlebear, however, he still hasn't gone for his air yet. He is putting up his radar, just as you'd want to see. However, CptConundrum has gone for the air. He's got the interceptors out as well, so he's going much more air superiority focus, because of course if you have air superiority, then you can start using your bumblebees and your bombers, and well, they're the same thing. Bumblebees and bombers. Anyway, you start using your air to your advantage to deal damage to the ground forces, but there are a number of tanks now on the field, and again, none yet from CptConundrum. And all of these docks in on their own are going to find themselves in a little bit of a pickle as they reach those tanks there, because that's quite a force there for an early game, even with a couple of vehicles in it as well. And these few docks here being a bit of a headache from Battlebear. Got a couple of good docks kills there. Didn't get the fabber kills, unfortunately. And on the other side of the base there. But all the same. Again, looking down in Battlebear's spawn there, looking down his rear entrance with a double turret, or a T2 laser turret, as I like to call them. Of course, T2 refer in laser turret speak to double, and T3 refer to triple, which is the true T2. But that's just the way I do it. It's just an easy way of doing it. I could just, I don't know. Anyway, well, we do have a little bit of a confrontation out here, although CptConundrum realising it's not best to do that, so retreating. Battlebear realising he can push in here. He's got many more vehicles than CptConundrum has at this point, and I think he knows it. CptConundrum only just beginning to get up the vehicles with his commander. He wants that extra build power so he can get out those tanks really, really fast, because he needs them, because he's losing a lot of ground here to Battlebear. He's managing to push quite a way into his base, and there's only a few sort of disorganised rabble of docks moving around. But here's the first Bumblebee pass. This could be a little bit of a damage there. Will take out a tank. It can take out a couple of docks on another pass, though. Of course, Battlebear's going to see this and think, perhaps I should put up an air factory, and indeed he's doing that now. Whoa, goodness me. I'm not used to using WASD to navigate the camera, but there we are. So a couple of bumblebees out now from CptConundrum, and quite a sizable interceptor force as well for an early game 5, so that's something of an advantage he has over Battlebear at this point in the game. There are a couple of docks there being a headache, though. It looks as though they did get the fabber kills, which is pretty important. No, they didn't get the fabber kills. They got one fabber kill. All the same, that's pretty decent there. In fact, nope, they didn't. Sorry, I'm missing things again. It's because my eyes are all over the place with memory research that I've been doing at the moment. Oh, the irony. But we do have a spinner in there, and that could do a little bit of damage to these bumblebees as a second one brings up the rear. One goes down, second one will go down as well as the interceptors leave. Sort of abandoning the bumblebee there, but quite a sizable force now from Battlebear. He's got a number of ants in there as well, whereas if we look in the army tab there, we've actually got 46 mobile from Battlebear and only 33 from CptConundrum, though the economy of Battlebear is also much better than CptConundrum's, though he doesn't have the same amount of metal, but he's not stalling, which is something of an importance. Going to have a little bit of a confrontation here. Battlebear, however, will come out on top. He doesn't really need to retreat here, but he wants to just consolidate his forces, and then he can turn around and advance using his greater tank numbers. And he's going to do that right now. In fact, he's going to cut off CptConundrum's escape, one would hope. Fortunately, he doesn't manage to get that turret up, which is going to give Captain the chance to actually take down this mechs. Will he manage to? Yes, he will. That was a really good mechs raid there. Just keeping Battlebear on the low with regards to the mechs, which is always a good idea. Back around the other side, locking down expansions with a bot factory instead of a turret, although we do know that Battlebear prefers to do so with turrets at the moment. T2 turrets are pretty good. These docks here, if they move in on this, they will lock this down and destroy it pretty damn fast. And in fact, they will do that. We'll do that right this instant. They'll find those fabricators. Unfortunately, the bot factory will not go up in time, so that'll get locked down. Down on the front line, though, CptConundrum taking a little bit of damage, putting his commander on the line there, down to 66% of his health, popping up a few walls as well in defense. But he does manage to repel that force from Battlebear and knock him back into the Stone Age, back in the army count now, 46. However, CptConundrum has also been knocked back to 26, so really not looking very good for CptConundrum at the moment. It certainly feels as though the early emphasis on vehicles is much more favoured than a docks rush if you're playing against them. The bot factory did manage to go up. The fabricators did remain alive for just long enough. Fortunately, CptConundrum will not be microing these units as they come off the production line, as he'll probably be focusing something of a greater attentional span on his front lines there, because of course again another big force from Battlebear just ready to go, and CptConundrum does not have the forces to support this. He's just going to try and advance and hold his ground by putting up a few factories. He does need a couple of P-gens though, so he's going to do that. And looking at the build queues from Battlebear as well, lots and lots of vehicles, only one bot factory there. That was only for the early scouting and harassment, I feel. There as well, locking down that expansion. Not bothering to take out the factory though, you don't necessarily need to do that. It's the economy that's the big limiting factor. Unfortunately, they don't manage to take down that mechs. That was only a couple of shots away from death and destruction there. Another Bumblebee raid coming in from Battlebear there on the side of CptConundrum's assault force, though a few interceptors can come in and take that out pretty swiftly. They will have to fly over a spinner though, not exactly advised. A couple get shot down there, but they do manage to take down the majority of that force, and this is a pretty substantial push in here coming from Battlebear. The commander is right there. He could Uber Cannon, could pop an Uber Cannon off right there. I think he's chasing it down to try and do so, but now he's going to have to move around and take his commander off the front if he hopes to defend against this, because the rest of his forces in his base aren't necessarily going to be able to deal with this. And in fact, it seems as though they consist mainly of docks, and that's not going to do well against the tanks. Let's keep an eye on the front lines, because that commander is still there, and he is something of an exposed and weakness at this point. 61% of his health. A few more tanks coming in from Battlebear, as he's definitely changing out the docks now for a much more vehicle focused build. He continues to queue up these vehicle factories, which is a massive dent for CptConundrum there. Looking in the economy tab though, they're pretty much equal there, as that mech does get taken down by those raiding docks, which is really good. But he is floating his resources. He does need to put up a number more factories, and these tanks here are going to create a really powerful flanking maneuver with these docks as they come together, because the rest of CptConundrum's base really isn't very well defended whatsoever. Battlebear, however, has got a pretty sizable force on the front side there. Let's keep an eye on the flanking force there as we follow this front one in, the main push there. And in fact, CptConundrum is moving out to meet this. However, his commander is in the wrong place. He's building another bot factory, not exactly advised given the scenario with all the vehicles. How best to answer vehicles? Preferably with more vehicles at this point, and or bombers as well. There are a few spinners in there, however, so the Bumblebees might not necessarily get quite so many kills off, but as long as you have the rest of the air support, you should be fine. And there in the picture-in-picture, we do see the rest of that expansion getting taken down as well. As we move back into Battlebear's spawn there, we can see that CptConundrum is beginning to push back a little bit, but the rest of this force, though, this is the cruncher for Captain Conundrum as he's really starting to lose all of his economy there. So many mechs and a few P-gens as well taken down. That's really big losses for Captain and a few big wins there for Battlebear. Because now if you look in the economy tab, 51 metal plays, 113, really not advised. The commander on the front lines over here having to put off an Uber cannon. I did hear that there. In fact, it looks as though he's having to move out with his commander. Let's keep an eye on the flank there, as that force just continues to tear through the base. But this commander is going Rambo, seeing if he can get a few wins on his own. Going in with a few boombots there as well. I didn't see those going out. And the commanders are right there, actually. Those boombots could really have done a lot more damage to that commander there. I think it's the Gamma commander rather than the Duds commander. I think that's still a little bit of an error in the labelling. And down he goes. I think Battlebear just had that game from the get-go with such a powerful tank composition compared to the docks that just were not powerful enough to deal with the increase in numbers, the exponential with regards to the vehicle production, because Battlebear just kept on increasing it. As we fly over the base there, we can just see quite how many factories there were, and we'll take a look in the army tab as well. 11 factories, and if we go back just before the end of the game, we can see the count there, 12 to 10. Not strictly speaking advised, because if we actually count up the number of vehicle factories equated, it's about what, 4 to the majority of the vehicles there, so about 4 to about 9. That's really not particularly brilliant. The boombots unfortunately didn't manage to make it through the walls, of course. And, the rest of the base was pretty much gone. Really good locking down of expansions there, and good unit composition as well. I fear as though the Docks Rush meta is only good if it's not met with tanks, which is an interesting one, because you get a lot of complaints about lack of balance, and on one hand, yes, you could say that, but on the other, I feel as though it is the competitive scene that creates this imbalance. As I said, coming back from PAX, and in fact at PAX as well, I think it's the most fun I've ever had with PA, because we weren't playing competitively, we were playing for fun, and while we were there were only a couple of glaring imbalance and balance issues, and those were soon rectified. But you know, playing one-on-one competitively like this is entirely different to, I feel as though perhaps PA is at its best, which is in your sort of team shared armies across planets games. But even there you do sort of tend to find that the early game tends to be sort of docks heavy, and transitioning to the mid-late game you definitely have more vehicles and advanced tier units moving in, and if it's a multi-planet, well, it really depends, because sometimes you can have orbital early mid, but sometimes that can only come in mid to late. But it all depends on the dynamics of the game and the teams that are playing and where people decide to spawn and everything. So you know, you can't really just call things in one way or the other just based on balance alone. Anyway, that's me all done here for this video, so thanks again for watching, folks. Don't forget to pop a like if you liked it, or a dislike if you disliked it, and if you do that, don't forget to tell me why. And in other words, in other news rather, don't forget to subscribe and share this video, because there's more PA on the way coming very, very soon indeed, and there's also a few Clan Wars videos that I may be doing this weekend. I'll definitely be streaming them, co-casting with Zaphod. Whether I'll record them or not, I'm not yet decided, but hey ho. Anyway, that's everything, folks. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a nice day. I love all the factories or his units that have been produced. He's on the edge of his base, where his units are sort of congregating in a one direction. Excuse me. And there aren't any point defense either, and we do see the boombots on the other side there beginning to congregate. Let's hop down into the dynamic camera here, as I fear we're about to see the bomb snipe with all those boombots, as the commander is lured out as well by Captain Conundrum there. Uber cannon does go off, a few shots go off as well, dropping him down to below 85% there, below 80, and here come the boombots now, ready for the kill. And there they go. Really well played from Captain Conundrum, goading Battlebear's commander out of the safety of his base to his destruction and to oblivion. GG's. Well played, Captain Conundrum and Battlebear.